to Lake Bemidji State Park. We're going to be doing some hiking today. This is called Hiking Adventures Math, calculating distances at Lake Bemidji State Park. And we're going to go down just a little bit. And I'm going to zoom in here. And this is actually from Lake Bemidji State Park. Let me get this here. This is the map. I'm going to put the link later on so you can get your own map. One thing that you'll see when you're looking at a map is you'll have this part over here on the left, and this is called the key. And the key tells us what all of these little icons mean. And so we have hiking trails, we have mountain biking hiking trails, a hiking club, and so on. Then the facilities, we have the park office. That's where you're going to find the park ranger, visitor center, parking, and so on. Then for this particular state park, there's an amphitheater. That's where you can go and see little performances, or sometimes the park ranger will go and talk about different things about the park, playground, volleyball, and so on. Then swimming and shower. So we have a shower restroom, and then we have a restroom, and then we have a primitive toilet. Now, do you happen to know what a primitive toilet means? Yeah, it's the pit toilet. And then so on. Now, in this picture, we also have this side is the campground, and it tells you all the different spots that they're labeled. And on the right here is our map for the park. And that's what we're going to be using today. I do want to point out that we're going to be doing some hiking, and it's kind of hard to see, but if you look right here, it says 0.7. So between these two letters, it's 0.7 miles, and that's what we're going to be using today. All right, let's get to the first one. Oops, okay. All right, I'm going to get my marker here, because where are we going to be hiking for this first one? We are going to start down here at H, and we're going to walk and then do this whole loop. All right. And then we're going to come straight back. So we need to figure out, well, how far is that? Let me get my drawing here. All right. So first of all, we need to write down some numbers. I see that this is 0.3. So let's write that. 0.3 miles. Okay, and then it tells us this is 1.6 miles. So we're going to put that right underneath. Remember, we're going to be adding these because we want to know the total distance that we went. And then once we do the whole loop, we're going to go back again. So we need to add another 0.3 miles. All right. Now, I didn't write that too good. Let me see if I can write it a little bit better. 0.3, 1.6, and 0.3. Now we're adding. We want to know the total. 3 plus 6 is 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to put a 1 here and a 2 here. 1 plus 1 is 2. So it looks like we went 2.2 miles. Now, that's great. We talk like that in English. I went 2.2 miles. But what would that be as a fraction? Well, I'm going to move down here just a little bit, get a new clean sheet of paper. We have 2.2 miles. Now, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. This number here is going to be our whole number. Now, that's the big number. This is going to be a mixed number, by the way. Now, what do we do? The first thing that we did is we wrote our big number. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make our fraction bar. Okay, our fraction bar. All right. The third thing we're going to do to make this mixed number is write the number that we have after the decimal, and that's a 2. So we're going to put a 2 here. The fourth thing we're going to do is we need to write a 1, just a 1. And then the fifth thing and the last thing we're going to do is we have to count how many places we have after the decimal. Now for this one, we have one place after the decimal. So I'm going to put in 1 0. What does that look like? Well, it's going to look like 2 and 2 tenths. And you did it. But remember, with fractions, we always want to reduce. Now, I always think about multiplication when I reduce fractions. And I know that this is 2 times 1. And then I look at my denominator, my 10. Does 2 go into 10? Yeah, it does. 2 times 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cancel the common factor, which is 2. And we're going to end up with the big 2, the whole number 2, and then 1/5. And you did it. That's it. I know. Some people think it's super hard. It's not. It's actually kind of fun. Now that we have that one, let's try another one. Okay, let's try another one. Here we are. I'm going to get my marker again. This time, what we're going to do is we are going to walk from H way down here. Oops, get my pen. And we're going to walk, 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 and walk, 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 walk into the state forest that's right next door. We're going to pretend that maybe we have a campground over there. All right. One thing I do want to show you is that we have this 5, and it tells us that this is the Pine Wood Trail. So we're following the Pine Wood Trail, and then it turns into 6 down here, which is the Old Logging Trail. Okay, well, let's figure out how far we went. I'm going to start down here. So I went 0.4 miles. Let's write that. 0.4 miles. And then we went another 0.4. Now, what do these numbers mean? It means between the letters. Okay. So between H and G, we would walk 0.4 miles. Between G and B, we're walking 0.4 miles. So another 0.4. 0.4 miles. Okay. Then we're going to walk 0.7 miles. All right. And then we get to A, and then we're going to walk 0.8 miles to get out of the state park and go into the state forest. So we're going to write 0.8 miles. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that I lined all of my decimals up because we're adding. Now let's actually add. It doesn't matter where you start. I'm going to start up here. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus 7 is 15. Plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 is 23. Okay. I'm going to put a 3 here. I have to bring down my decimal, and I'll put a 2 here. Now, we don't have anything here. We have 2 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, so that's 2.3. So we would walk 2.3 miles. Well, what's that as a fraction? Let's move down here. $2.3 miles. All right. Remember, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write our whole number. Cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our fraction bar. We're going to look and see, well, what's after the decimal? Well, it's a 3. So we're going to put a 3 here. I'm going to put a 1 here. Now I have to count how many places are after the decimal. And there's only one place. So I'm going to put a 0 here. When I look at this, 3 over 10, it doesn't reduce, but let me show you how to do that. So 3 is 3 times 1. Now I look at 10, I say, well, does 3 go into 10? Nope. So this is my answer, 2 3/10 of a mile. That's how far we walked. Not too bad, huh? All right. We are going to go to the next one. There we are. And I'm going to get my highlighter. What are we going to do for this one? We're going to actually start down here. And we're going to walk up to here. And then we're going to make our loop. And then we're going to walk back. Okay? So let's figure out how far that is. The first part is 0.4. So let's write that. 0.4. And one moment here, I'm going to do one little thing. All right, 0.4. Then we're going to walk. It doesn't matter if we go up, but how about we walk this way? 0.3 is next. All right, and then we're going to come back around 0.3 again. Trying to line them up, not doing too good, but that's okay. We're going to come back down, which is another 0.4. Now we're adding them up because we want to know the distance. I tried to line up my decimals as best I can. Please, please, line them up better. So let's start adding. 4 plus 3 is 7. Plus 3 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. We're going to have a 4 here. Bring down our decimal. Put a 1. 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 1. So we actually walked 1.4 miles. Hopefully you're getting this. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see anything. If you're watching, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for coming. Now let's change this decimal into a fraction. So I'm going to come down to my clear spot here. We have 1.4 miles. Now let's change it to a decimal. Pardon me, a fraction. So we're going to put our big number. Let me get rid of that little mistake there. All right. So we're going to have the big number, which is 1. I always call anything in front of the decimal the big number. So that's our 1, especially when we're talking about mixed numbers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to draw our fraction bar. I'm going to write whatever number is after the decimal. Now in this case, it's just a 4. So I'm going to write a 4. Then I'm going to put my 1. It's always a 1, by the way. Always a 1. And now I'm going to count how many decimal places I have. I have 1 decimal place. And control yourselves, but you did it. You did it. One little thing, though, we have to reduce. Now, I like to think of multiplication instead of division. For some reason, my brain works like that. I know that 4 is 2 times 2. Now, I'm going to look at 10. Does 2 go into 10? Yeah. 2 times 5 is 10. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to cancel our common factors. Now, you might be wondering, well, why are you doing that? Well, 2 over 2 is the same thing as 1. So they cancel out, or they leave us with the 1. Now, remember, anything times 1 is itself. Okay, so this is a good thing. I'm going to have my whole number, my big 1, and then I'm going to have 2 over 5. So how far did we walk? We walked 1 2/5 miles. Always remember to put your units there. Okay, 1 2/5 miles. Let's look at this one. For this one, we are going to start at near the parking lot. We're going to start here at Q. And we're going to go here to here and all the way up here. Then we're going to go all the way around. This is our hiking. And then we're going to go out to, looks like the information center. Okay. Now for this one, you're going to notice that we don't have a number here. Okay. We don't have a number here. But when I was thinking about it, I thought, well, that could be, since it's so small, 0.05. So that's what we're going to use for this little spot that we don't have numbered. All right, so let's start putting some stuff together. We're going to start at Q. This is where we're starting. Okay. So from there, we have 0.3. Then we're going here, all right, Y to Z, and I just decided that's 0.05. Very, very short path there. Now we're going to walk 0.5 miles. Then we're going to walk 0.4 miles. Then we're going to walk 0.5 miles. All right. And then we're going to do the last little bit to, looks like the information center, which is 0.6. All right. Now we're going to add all of these up. Now, one thing I want you to note is that I have 2 decimal places here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a 0 to these. Why am I doing that? It's because it's going to be easier for me to add. I'm going to have 0 plus 5 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 5. All right, now let's start with the tenths place. I have 3 plus 5. Let me write it here. 3 plus 5, which is 8. Okay. I'm going to add my 4. Okay, I'm adding this one. 8, 9, 10. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to add my 5, which is 17, and then I'm going to add my 6. So we're going to have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And that gives us 23. I'm going to bring down my decimal. I should do that right away, but I always forget. I'm so excited to start adding. I'm going to have a 3 here, and I'm going to put a 2 up here. Now 2 plus 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 is 2. And it looks like we walked hiked 2.35 miles. Cool. That's pretty neat. But we're not done. We want to convert this into a fraction. All right. So we're going to come down, get a nice little clean piece of paper. 2.35 miles. All right. The number in front of the decimal is our big number. Then we're going to make our fraction bar. Now I'm going to look at the number after the decimal. And in this case, it's a 35. Okay. Could be 100, could be whatever. Just write it there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 1 here. It's always a 1. And I'm going to count how many places after the decimal. I have 1, 2. So that means I'm going to put 2 zeros right here. So far, we have 2 3/35 mile. But I'm going to guess that that's going to reduce. Let me write it here. 35 over 100. 35 is 5 times 7. Now I look at my 100 and I think, is there a 5 in 100? Yeah, there is. I can say 5 times 20. Once again, we're going to cancel our common factors and we end up with 7 over 20. So how far did we walk this one, or hike, I should say? 2 7/20 of a mile. Yay! All right. If you have the handout that I sent, this looks like the end, but I'm going to give you a couple more to try. So if you just use the back of your paper or another piece of paper, that would be cool. But what I would like you to do is I want you to convert these decimals into fractions. Okay. convert these decimals into fractions. I'm going to give you a little bit of time, and I'm going to check my, I don't have anybody in chat, but that's okay. I'm still going to give you some time here. Remember, you can pause the video if you're watching this as a video, do these, and then press play, and we're going to work it together. Now, this one, we have a number in front of the decimal, so that's going to be our big number, 3. I'm going to make my fraction bar. 9 is after the decimal. I'm going to put my 1. Now, how many decimal places do we have? We have 1. So guess what? If we're talking about mileage, this would be 3 9/10 miles. Let's look over here. So we have 6. I'm going to make my fraction bar. What's the number after the decimal? It's 25. I'm going to make my 1. Always a 1. I'm going to count, well, how many decimal places do I have? I have 2. Okay. Well, here's the thing. 25 over 100, I think that reduces. I'm going to write it right here. 25 over 100. 25 is, well, 25 times 1. Because guess what? I know that 25 goes into 100. 25 times 4. Cancel my common factors, and we end up with 1/4. So this is 6 1/4. We could also call it 6 1/4. Let's look at 9.1. The big number is 9. Okay, I'm going to make my decimal. The number behind the decimal is a 1. I'm going to make my 1. It's always a 1 before I count how many decimal places I have, which is 1. 1 over 10 doesn't reduce, so that's it. 9 1/10. Ooh, let's look at the last one. It looks kind of tough, but it's not. Everything in front of the decimal is your big number, so it's 12. We're going to make a fraction bar. After the decimal place, it's an 8. I'm going to make a 1. Now, how many places do I have after the decimal place? Well, I have 1. Okay. Well, 8 over 10, they're both even numbers, so I know that 2 goes into both of them. 8 is 2 times 4, and 10 is 2 times 5. I'm going to cancel out my common factors, and we end up with 4/5. So what do we have? We have 12 and 4/5. Yay! Okay. I'm just going to scroll all the way up. I just want to thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me at Lake Bemidji State Park. Cool. Not sure what I'm going to do next Thursday, but if you have a question or you want to see something, just put it in the chat here, or go to Math Hub Club. You can join for free. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great afternoon. Did you know that I have a fraction mastery class? I sure do. I go through all the different things you need to know for fractions. Adding, subtracting, multiply, dividing, converting. I even do some word problems. Not sure if you need the class? Try the fraction diagnostic. Everything I do in the class is there.